We know that inflammation is really at the root cause of chronic disease. And in your book, you go through a lot of different theories, and signs that people are not aging successfully. So let's start with the major signs and symptoms that one might experience that would tell them they're not aging very well.
Well, yeah, if you're aging on the outside, you're aging on the inside. So I think physical appearance goes a long way. How old are you, David? Because you look
39.
Yeah, so I'm 60. I'm 62.
Yeah, you look great.
So I'm doing a good job fighting the aging process. So I think the way a person looks goes a long way in evaluating how they're faring against the aging process. But it's not foolproof, right? Because we've all seen people that look really young, but yet maybe had a short lifespan. So
yeah,
there's more to consider.
So outside looks. How about pain? Some of the other signs.
Yeah, I mean, energy levels.
Yeah.
I think energy levels, and I think there's certain conditions I think that people should be concerned about. One is dementia. When I first started studying medicine, the rate of Alzheimer's disease and dementia was very low in people 80 plus. It was less than 2%. Now, it's the latest data is almost 50%. So the reward for living longer for a lot of people is they live longer, but they lose their mind. And most of us, baby boomers and younger, have witnessed people that we love learning their ability to function and think. And
right.
I think, for a lot of reasons, that has to be one of the key areas of concern. When I look at, what contributes to a short lifespan, and we look at inflammation, some of the big contributors to inflammation are poor blood sugar control. So obesity, type 2 diabetes, poorly controlled type 1 diabetes, these all accelerate the aging process by, in most cases, leading to excess inflammation. Heart disease. We know that heart disease is linked to inflammation. C-reactive protein is something that people need to measure. It's a sign of chronic inflammation. And higher C-reactive protein levels are associated not only with a dramatic increased risk for cardiovascular disease, but also many forms of cancer, diabetes, and accelerated aging. So it's an inexpensive lab test that should be part of every yearly physical. Vitamin D3 is something else that we're learning more and more is so important for so many reasons, especially during this COVID time. And so I think that that's another simple, inexpensive test. If we look at the optimal range, we want it to be between 60 and 80 nanograms per ml. What they've showed is that with COVID is that if people have below 20, that's almost, if they get COVID, it's almost a death sentence.
Wow.
And if they're above 34, they pretty much might get it, but they don't go to the ICU and they don't die from it. And so that 34 number is kind of the threshold, but I'm saying it's got to be even higher than that. So now why is this important for aging? Well, vitamin D3 is a very effective tool to help reduce telomere shortening. And we have these end caps of our DNA, and every time cells in our body replicate, it gets shorter. And the shorter the telomeres get, the more chance for errors and for improper replication. And so vitamin D can preserve those telomeres and help people conceivably age slower. So vitamin D3 levels are very important for fighting inflammation and fighting aging and supporting the immune system, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. Vitamin D3 really helps with keeping inflammation under control. And we know that with COVID, people are in a hyperinflamed state, meaning that they have higher levels of inflammation to begin with. When they encounter the virus, their body is not able to control inflammation. It just just creates these cytokine storms and really damages their lungs and causes pneumonia and all kinds of issues. So,
David, it's interesting because, when we're talking about inflammaging and we look at who's most susceptible to suffering the worst from COVID-19 or dying from it, it's people that have inflammaging.
Yeah.
People with diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, obesity, diabetes, poorly controlled blood sugar levels. These all contribute to this inflammaging, and there's strategies that we can utilize that would really be helpful for these people. We've got some extra incentive right now to get those inflammatory processes under control.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned C-reactive protein. Where do you like to see the levels? What's kind of your optimal range there?
I like to see it as close to zero as possible.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you're like me, and you get it checked at least once a year. Mm-hmm. My levels are near zero, and I think that I have no pain, no inflammation. When I had like a little hangnail the other day, and I realized how much that bothered me. I hate to think what would happen if I had any sort of chronic issue. And life is meant to be lived. And the title of my book, The Longevity Matrix, the idea of a matrix is that it's multiple systems coming together to work harmoniously, and that's how our body is. And the idea is to help people live better now, because if you live better now, it sets the stage for living longer. And getting that inflammation under control is really a key step in helping your body feel better now. Now, the other part of the subtitle is stronger, because I think, building muscle mass is really important, and helping cells throughout the body be stronger and more resistant to inflammation and cellular damage. That's what I mean by stronger. If the cells are more resilient, they're going to respond to threats, and they're going to quell, they're going to put out any fire of inflammation. And if you take care of living better now and focusing on helping improve your strength and helping improve the strength of every cell in your body, you're naturally going to live longer. So that's the premise.